CommHIT.
Our next panel hails from Texas to discuss something that traditional healthcare professionals are warming up to. The panel is going to discuss why integrative health may be particularly suited for space exploration, as it can help address unique challenges such as prolonged isolation, which you've already heard about, stress, physiologic strain, especially in these extreme environments. The panel will let you peer into many facets and research behind integrative wellness and medicine, uncovering how this modality of healthcare can benefit humanity both on Earth and in space. Moderating the panel is CommHIT CEO, Dr. Kendra Siler, whom you've seen a lot today. Usually she's introducing others, but today I have the pleasure of introducing her. So there are probably many things that you know about her, some things you may not. She is a beacon of collaboration and leadership dedicated to bridging gaps and creating solutions across healthcare technology and workforce development. Over 25 years of experience has allowed her to become a nationally recognized leader in tackling complex challenges in rural, resource-poor, and remote settings. Her influence extends to advising both the Trump administration White House, Office of American Innovation, and the Obama administration White House Rural Council. That's a funny story that you should ask us one day. In 2008, she and I began our business partnership and spearheaded the development of the nation's first rural-based health information exchange that you heard about earlier today. She has a PhD from the University of Florida, specializing in immunology and biochemistry, postdoctoral experience at McKnight Brain Institute. She has that rare ability to synthesize seemingly unrelated ideas and bring together individuals from varied backgrounds, forging pathways that not only improve lives, but elevate entire communities across our nation. So please welcome Dr. Kendra Siler back to the stage.
So as you all know, David is definitely my favorite business partner. He's the co-founder of CommHIT. We started that back in about 2007 when he was telling me that he wanted to shut down his health information exchange in his city called Healthy Ocala because they had to change vendors. And I said, oh, well, I said, I have some federal dollars. You want to expand that in 9 more counties? And he's like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, let's do it. So we immediately did it to become that first rurally based health information exchange. So thank you, David. So I would like to introduce Dr. Michael T. Brown. He is advancing health and wellness with cutting-edge therapies and technologies. He earned dual PhDs in health and clinical psychology from Walden University. He specializes in disease management, chronic illness, cellular inflammation, and emotional distress through an integrative approach. Dr. Brown leverages state-of-the-art treatments like hypothermic oxygen and carbonic acid transdermal technology for detoxification, high-intensity pulse electromagnetic field devices for cellular optimization, and repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation, microcurrent neurofeedback, and theta chamber therapy to address conditions such as PTSD, autism, ADHD, depression, and more. And I'd also like to introduce Blake Starring. He brings over 20 years of expertise in nutraceutical development, peptide therapy, and regenerative medicine, with experience spanning startups, clinical practices, and multinational markets. Blake paired his foundation as a holistic nutritionist and physiologist with his entrepreneurial expertise and relentless curiosity, leading to the creation of innovative formulations that enhance human performance and improve bioavailability. Blake's directing his expertise towards developing therapeutics for casual consumers to optimizing the wellness of space travelers as missions become longer. By fusing space health research, biohacking, and ancient wisdom, he designs supplements and protocols that can be responsive to the demands of high-stakes space environments and promote resilience and health in Earth communities. So I welcome Dr. Brown and Blake Starring. So can each of you take about 3 minutes to define and introduce your work, and how does integrative wellness and directed therapeutics advance space exploration, or how can it?
3 minutes? Okay.
So our work is probably best described in a quick story. A couple of weeks ago, I'm in my office. I overhear two of my patients talking about some of their common ailments. One of them was saying, you know, I have this horrible condition. I never know when I'm going to go to the bathroom. It's sporadic throughout the day. You know, I have no control. It's affecting my sleep, my vacation time, normal activities. And the other guy is sitting there and he says, you know, my problem is worse than that. I know exactly when I'm going to go to the bathroom. It's 6 a.m. every day. Problem is I don't wake up till 8. So, I think one thing we can all agree on is we all have ailments, you know, whether they're physical, emotional, stress-related. We all share something in common. We deal with chronic pain, sleep disturbance, maybe some anxiety, some high levels of stress. What we do is we really focus on the whole person. We focus on the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, the intellectual, and we help patients discover root cause of illness. Dr. Harris alluded earlier about mitochondrial health and cellular function. The key, if you fix the cell, the body gets well. So we really focus on cellular methylation and cellular health in order to optimize outcomes in our office using multiple technologies that you shared earlier.
You want to talk a bit about what cellular methylation is and
So it's a long process, but very simply, we kind of have a healing process. So whether there's damage or illness or injury, the body starts its process of healing. And so this methylation cycle starts, and the body releases platelets and natural killer cells and antibodies to fight illness and stress and injury. And so this methylation cycle oftentimes gets disrupted by chronic problems. And so when that process doesn't happen, that circle's not complete, then we get chronic illness down the road. So methylation is simply taking nutrients and making them usable into a form that the body can absorb. That's, in a nutshell, kind of what methylation is making something useful and making it bioavailable for the body.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And Blake.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Appreciate you guys sticking around. These next 2 hours are going to fly right by. Don't worry about it. Guy in the back looked at me crazy. Just kidding. We're gonna be really brief. We're gonna run through some information. We're on a short leash. The cards are the short leash. Kendra gave us 25 minutes, but when me and this guy get together and we start geeking out about integrative medicine and all the exciting things that are taking place in our field, we have to use note cards to stay on task, and really we want to talk directly to you guys so that you can have some information that you can take with you today that's going to be extremely effective. And so, like Dr. Brown was saying, our approach is whole body systems. I got into this field well, not really by chance. I lost my best friend my first semester in college to cancer. 3 months later, it was my grandmother. And so it's been a 20-year odyssey of just trying to figure out how can we improve the human condition? How can we get better outcomes? And so that's led me to, learning from some of the greatest minds out there, just to be absorbing as much as I possibly could about, again, improving human conditions and getting better results. And so that's been formulation in the beginning, went through the clinical setting. Recently I've led 2 regenerative medicine clinics specializing in hormones, peptides, stem cells, exosomes, and leading edge therapies that are really, really moving the needle and that are really exciting, and something that really everybody can get their hands on. It's not just, for the elite or athletes and, things like that. So it's a really, really exciting time to be in our field, and we're excited to be here so that we can start opening up conversations.
So Blake, can you tell the group what formulation is to you? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so early on it was how can we take products, whether it's probiotics and using particular strains that can get better outcomes. And so I spent time I love stacking therapies on top of each other. And so when you can stack multiple therapies or multiple formulations into a product, then you get better outcomes. We want to target multiple body systems and organ systems. We want to get as much results as we possibly can. And so, I spend a lot of time formulating and looking at data and research and really looking at those components and nutraceuticals that really move the needle, and then finding out which ones work the best together, and then putting those into a delivery system that's going to get them, the best results.
So Blake, I'm gonna continue with you. In general, integrative health and wellness, it's really considered a little bit less mainstream, I would say, but it's becoming more mainstream, and in some ways maybe it's truly coming of age with technology and advancements in research that's making it space age wellness for now. So can you tell us a little bit more about how integrative health and wellness approaches, like how they could address mental, physical, and emotional challenges faced by astronauts during space travel?
Sure. Some of the previous panelists, pointed to, just the detrimental effects that space travel has on you. Muscle loss, bone density, high amounts of inflammation, much more than we get here on Earth. And so their body's constantly being assaulted. And so what we like to do is we like to take a whole body approach. Let's use some systems that are gonna impact, those areas that are taking, the biggest assaults. And so some of the things that we use in using that whole system approach is, Dr. Brown alluded to it, is methylation pathways. Those are crucial. That's a precursor to any type of chronic disease and inflammation in the body. And so, something as simple as doing a methylation test where you test for folate, B12, B6, those B vitamin deficiencies, which are crucial to help open up, those pathways.
Yeah, just a quick note on that. Traditional blood work is crucial to good health and understanding what's going on in your body. But a lot of the nutrients don't show up in the blood. They show up in the cell. Over 90% of your magnesium is stored in your cell, not in your blood. And so these electrolytes and things that are so crucial to good health, we don't get a good measure in blood work. We have to look intercellular to see what those proper levels are. And so your organ systems are constantly pulling those things out of your blood so you keep you alive. So we don't see accurate measures in lab work. So we need a combination of lab work and methylation tests.
Great point. Dr. Harris alluded to it. I don't know if he's still here, but he alluded to mitochondrial health. Mitochondrial health is crucial. In my humble opinion, it is the probably most important factor in whether a person is healthy or not. It's the powerhouses of the cells. The mitochondria are 90% of the energy in a cell. And so what we want to look at is improving those mitochondrial and optimizing mitochondria, DNA repair, detoxification, using things like, urolithin A, which is a postbiotic. Probiotics were discovered in 1907, and so we're going back and looking at, nature and things that nature is giving us and discovering that, wow, there's something here. Billy alluded that to earlier, talking about nature and getting back to that. And so, things like I said, urolithin A, $15 million, 10 years of research, and it's a postbiotic. It's part of that probiotic family. Everybody's heard of a probiotic. And so there's things like that we can incorporate. It's a simple capsule that you can take. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, on the cell, which we alluded to, your cell's like a battery. It actually has a charge to it. There's a negative and positive ions inside the cell. A normal cell carries about 75 millivolts of charge to it. So it's like a little battery. You've got trillions of these in your body. When you get sick, you get injured, you get something horrible as cancer, the voltage drops dramatically and the cell starts starving for energy. And so it looks at recruiting other cells for something, and it starts to migrate looking for energy, and this is how disease spreads and things like cancer, unfortunately. And so the cell, again, is crucial. This is how it translates from things we do in space exploration to what we can do here for our patients, is understanding the importance of the cell and addressing that. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. The other thing is gut-brain-heart axis. We've heard a lot about, the gut over the last 10 years, but, you're starting to see these other axes that go along with it. And the largest amount of mitochondria in the body are in the gut, the brain, and the heart. And so if we can impact those three organ systems with particular nutraceuticals, then we're really able to affect change in the body, especially when you're in space flight for long durations. And then too, here on Earth, we are bombarded by everything you can possibly imagine here on Earth: chemicals, you name it, pollution, things in our food. And so if we can address those areas, then again, you're able to move the needle. And then the other one is just an inflammatory response control. Using tools like nutraceuticals, those directed therapies to be able to target, those particular areas. Medical devices, red light therapy. You guys are probably hearing about that right now, which is incredible. PEMF is pulse electric magnetic frequency, incredible therapy that you can get online. And so these are tangible things that, aren't just particularly for the astronauts, but also people, here in this room that can, start utilizing and really start seeing some incredible change. And so what we'd like to see is have that, that conversation to be able to take some of the therapies that we're doing and utilize those in space as well.
Absolutely, and it sounds like a lot of what you're talking about is really optimization of the body. And that takes me into the next question. And Dr. Brown, if you could start with this one. And this alludes to what Blake said earlier. Integrative health and wellness, it's usually associated with celebrities and wealthy people because you're talking about health optimization a lot of times. But I kind of want to know, what about us regular people that we're not celebrities or wealthy? What insights from your work could improve healthcare for individuals that are in rural or remote areas or just the rest of us?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can tell you that I don't treat many celebrities, and I definitely don't treat many wealthy folks. I live in a town of about 150,000 people, which is relatively good size. We have 3 major hospitals in our community. University of Texas has 2 hospitals, and Christus is another group that has a major hospital, offers tremendous care. But we are a hub for over 3 million people in rural communities, and these are the people that we serve on a regular basis. It's not the wealthy, it's not the uber rich, it's not the celebrities. Folks come to us because they've tried everything else, and maybe they haven't got success. Some of the things that we do that translate is it's about access and education, letting folks know what we do, that it is affordable, it's reachable. We talk about traditional medicine because we use traditional medicine in our clinic, pharmaceuticals, lab work. We do those things, but we also blend that with complementary medicine, things like homeopathics, herbal remedies, sauna, hyperbaric oxygen, things like that that are maybe a little bit less mainstream, but have an incredible effect on the body. We talk about, this is a big one, food. Mm-hmm. Food is huge, nutrition is huge. Food is code, it's information. Good food in, we got good instructions for our body to operate. Bad food, we get bad instructions, we get bad outcomes. Mother Nature's pharmacy literally exists in food. Good example is pomegranate. A pomegranate, let's say 8 ounces a day, or maybe eat some pomegranate. There's something in it natural called elagitanin. Elagitanin activates your body to secrete mucus. Mucus helps you stay regular, go to the restroom, but that mucus contains a very beneficial bacteria called Akkermansia. And Akkermansia activates your immune system and decreases inflammation. Now, new research shows Akkermansia contains a small component called P9. P9 is a GLP-1 activator. Anybody here heard of Ozempic? Okay, Ozempic is a GLP-1 producer. Helps maintain appetite, it lowers blood sugar, reduces inflammation, helps you lose fat, which we all, I think, strive to do. So that is something very, very powerful found in nature that we can educate on the benefits of food. So, Blake, you want to add to that?
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm a big proponent of, obviously, I'm a holistic nutritionist and physiologist and researcher. So the nutrition side, what we're putting in our face all determines, how we live our life. And so, simple things like there's something called TK10 that has just been out on the market. It's another postbiotic in that probiotic family. This little pill increases energy by 42%. 42%. Which is huge. So anybody would like to have 42% more energy throughout the day? Yeah, definitely, right? So it's simple things like that, and you alluded to, just taking simple measures. breath work, mindfulness, meditation, all of these things that we incorporate in our practices.
Yeah, breath work actually stimulates your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve regulates your parasympathetic, your rest and digest, your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight. It balances that, reduces blood pressure, lowers your heart rate, improves digestion, improves cognitive function. And that simple thing is breathing, something we do every day. But actually taking the time to focus on deep breath work can stimulate your vagus nerve and have really, really good outcomes.
Yeah, definitely a lot of us, we forget on, like how to breathe properly. Like, yes, we still breathe, but, sometimes we're doing our work and we're holding our breath or, just like short breaths.
Like right now, yeah.
There you go, yeah. So Blake, I think that to me, it's very clear the reason why integrative medicine should be used for space, for longer flights, for space habitation. But, let's say that nobody does research on it. They don't look at it for space health over the next 10 years. They didn't include integrative health and wellness. Like, what are the potential risks to human health and mission outcomes if it's not explored?
Yeah, well, being in this field, I think it'd be a travesty. There's so much that we've seen clinically and with our patients that would translate into space, and where we're at. I think, you're going to get suboptimal outcomes. You look at the mental component, which, is what you do a lot of, and biofeedback, just reduced adaptability, without these, getting some personalized support, that's what we want to do is we want to target, particularly when you're talking about space, we want to target these particular therapeutics because, again, there's just an onslaught of every single organ system. And so being able to bring in therapies that are going to help support during that mission is crucial. The things and the technology and the outcomes that we can glean from space translates down here to Earth. There's a trickle-down effect, right? So all these incredible things that are being done by these incredible people that have been up on stage all has a trickle-down effect that comes into our communities. Something as simple as NASA was doing the rebounders, right? Rebounders are huge. It's something simple, but it's huge. It literally helps to drain your lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is what gets all the ugly, junky, nasty stuff out, right? And so something as simple like a rebounder that they were using has such dramatic impact. I tell all my patients, get a rebounder. It's huge. 5 minutes in the morning,
Plus, it's just movement.
Yeah, it's movement. Going back to your point, we were talking about simple things. Just getting out, moving, some sunlight, breath work, maybe a little, mindfulness practices. Those are huge. Whenever we're talking to our patients, yes, we're using some cutting edge therapies and a lot of that, but a lot of what we do is just kind of ancestral wisdom, and bringing back things that we know have been proven over time and just, being able to make them more effective, right?
There's actually two non-negotiables when it comes to long life, and one of the keys to long life is a sense of community and purpose. The other one is physical movement. Those two things contribute to long life. That is something everybody can be a part of, and I think that they've really keyed in on something so important as a sense of belonging and a sense of community, a sense of purpose, and then encouraging movement on top of that. These are things that anyone can do, and that still translates into space exploration and the technologies that are out there.
And just to finish that real quick, Kendra, I'm sorry. So going back to that point is, if we're utilizing these things and we're incorporating those in our everyday process, then, like I said, it has a trickle-down effect. Everything that's being done up to this point, we see that in our field. And so, Dr. Harris pointed that out when he mentioned, we want to look at science and what everything provides. And so a lot of the things that we do in this space is sometimes maybe an outlier, but if we can pull back that lens and look at some of the things that we're doing, and then we have some integration, with space programs and things like that, then it puts a spotlight on some really effective therapies and therapeutics that will trickle down to everybody else because you're starting to get the recognition that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at time, but I'm going to give you guys this one last question. We're going to focus on Earth instead of space for this one. Mm-hmm. So what does the future of integrative health and directed therapeutics look like here on Earth to you?
Direction, yeah. I think it's more about education again and access to the things that integrative medicine offers. These therapeutics that we do, they sound really advanced, and we do things like neurofeedback and transcranial magnetic stimulation that simulate the neural pathways and affect stress. I think one thing we can all agree on is we all face stress in some form or fashion, and repeated ongoing stress without treatment leads to physical symptoms, and they manifest that way. And so the more we can address just the impacts of stress, the more we can help our patients and our communities. I think one of the things I heard the other day that really stuck with me was whatever you're dealing with, whether it's illness or injury or severe emotional trauma, and you feel like you're in a really dark place, you're not buried. Maybe you're being planted.
Great point. And I think Billy Allman would agree with that point based on what he said. Blake, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, just to echo that, there's so many exciting things that are happening in our field, and the great thing about what we do is we get to take those and present them to you guys. And so, there's always something new. And really integrative and functional medicine it's the leading industry right now as far as healthcare. You have more people going into those fields because what we're able to do is we're able to, like I said, pull back the lens and take a broader approach to how to heal the human body, and do that with multiple organ systems in multiple areas so we get the largest impact that we possibly can.
Absolutely. Certainly integrative medicine to optimize human health. We thank you both for this very eye-opening panel. Could we have another round of applause for Dr. Brown and Blake?
CommHIT